All right, Moderna shares rallying today after a narrower than expected loss. Yahoo Finance's very own Anjalee Khemlani spoke to Stéphane Bancel, Moderna CEO, this morning. Anjalee.
That's right, Brian. Of course, Moderna doing well considering the lower than expected profit on, or rather losses on the COVID vaccine. That's something that the company has been not alone in trying to fight. Pfizer as well under pressure for the same. But what that means for the outlook of the company is what I talked about with CEO Stéphane Bancel. And here's what he had to say about earnings.
So indeed, I'm very pleased with the first quarter. We had our sales above our own plans and above consensus. We even more recently in early Q2 signed Brazil. For the first time, Brazil has a new customer, 12 million doses. And the teams are very busy preparing the Formula 24-25 for COVID for next season. And also the RSV launch, which we are anticipating this spring. On the OPEX side, I'm also very pleased with what we've done. You remember in the fall, we had said that we were restructuring the company to right-size it, especially manufacturing, because of the decrease of demand going from pandemic to endemic. And if you look at our Q1 expenses, including manufacturing, R&D, and sales and marketing, we're actually down $800 million compared to Q1 of 2023.
So really looking at a strong potential year, even on the growth of these COVID vaccines, something that investors are quite tired of hearing about. And it's interesting to see the company entering a new market like Brazil. I asked Stéphane about that, about the excitement still surrounding this vaccine. And he talked about really what the COVID market now is. And here's what he had to say.
We're all still learning about this COVID market, the transition. None of us has ever managed a pandemic to endemic transition, because the last pandemic, as you know, was 1918. And so what is interesting in Q1 is that in the US, people kept getting vaccinated. So of course, not like in Q4, but you see a lot of people getting vaccinated, some people getting a booster, especially people at high risk. So that was a pleasant surprise. And then some countries, like, in the Southern Hemisphere, getting ready because, of course, the opposite season. So in Q1, it's their fall. And so they start getting ready in terms of purchasing vaccine and so on. So that's a good news. And again, Brazil is a good example. If you think about Brazil, it's a very big population, of course. We've never ever sold a vaccine during the pandemic in Brazil. And I think as we looked at the data, they were very seduced by the high efficacy that we provide compared to the other mRNA vaccine in terms of reducing hospitalization. And so they went with Moderna.
Now, Moderna is one of those interesting ones. Definitely one of the companies that came out of the woodwork during the pandemic, saw a rise in their stock. It's been down about 8 to 9% in the past year. Investors kind of questioning what the future is. So I asked Stéphane what exactly he thinks shareholders are looking for the company in order to ensure ongoing growth. Here's what he had to say.
I would point to two big things: the vaccine platform and the cancer treatment. So if you think about the vaccine platform, we have manufacturing scale. We do not need to build new plants. And if you think about the number of products, it's going to be quite remarkable. RSV, anticipating the launch this spring. If you look at analyst consensus, the RSV market could be around $10 billion market. So it's a big market. It's bigger than the flu market in terms of dollars. And then flu plus COVID. I'm very excited about this product. I don't have the phase 3 data yet. We shared the phase 2 data, which were very encouraging, but we need to wait for phase 3. But think about if we had the flu plus COVID vaccine, the number of doses for flu is 3 times the COVID market. If you think about revenues, you could add the revenue of flu and revenue of COVID on top of each other for a much bigger opportunity in terms of number of doses. And then you have, CMV, EBV, those are, easily $2 to $5 billion market. I think you want to think about those markets for novel vaccine, like what Merck has done with HPV, what GSK has done with Shingrix. Those are $5, $6, $7 billion franchises and growing every year. So that's what we have in stock. And that's why we're very excited. And that's going to launch in 24 for RSV, potentially some product in 25, and then 26 and 27. So you're going to see the company growing and growing.
So there you have it, really a strong outlook for the company and moving away from that COVID story with multiple options. We'll just have to wait and see how it all pans out.
We will, but a really great point you got out of him about being able to stack that revenue of flu and COVID over each other. Anjalee, thank you so much as always. Thanks for bringing us that interview. We really appreciate that.